I'm built
So
to
as you're doing that, reflect on the last month's process, the last session with your group. Thank you. So let's hear what one of our
Great
cadres
picture.
had to say. And
Great
what a
picture.
great, you did this is so short, but it was so profound. It was so profound.
Well, I think the really exciting part about the meeting tonight is we're starting to see all of the data come together. Insights that we've heard from the previous meetings keep coming up, and we're just getting more and more clarity about the direction the school should be going in. It's really exciting.
That was exciting to hear because that's exactly where we should be at this point. That you should have some ideas about, okay, we know where we are and we really know where we want to get going. Now the meat comes, how are we going to get there? So just a reminder of all the sources of data we're using to write the strategic intent: school district presentation, focus forum results, school district presentation. Oh, I did that twice, sorry about that. Focus, data triangle and survey results. Thank you. So, and best practices as well. You had two homework assignments. One was a DTSD review and one was websites. So, that's where we will go next. I just want to kind of look at what you look at. Was the majority, did you look at all the websites or did you choose a level and look at the level, elementary, high school, middle school? What did you do at this stage?
I looked at
So you looked at middle school? So raise your hand if you did that, if you just chose one area to look at. Okay, did everyone get a chance to look at all of them? Okay, so this is what I would like to do. So in your groups, we're going to glean out those best practices. So you, in your groups, you will take a chart paper and talk about and record what were the best practices. I just want to say ahead of time, yes, there were charter schools, and yes, there were private schools. Still, these strategies work for other schools. And if you look at it, some schools had 50 to 65% poverty, so it's not like they were getting, students who were coming to school ready to learn. So yes, those things were all there, but still looking at the best practices. What were those best practices and what would work for Hamilton Central School District based on what you read? So yes.
My favorite for each day.
Yes, so you may begin talking about what you read. I also have a copy if you're interested in, over the course of this several strategic plans, information that other people gleaned, so I'll just give you that if you want to look at that as well. So this is just information that other districts have gleaned out of those websites.
Okay.
And a lot of them
Well, the light there, that'll do it.
Oh, okay, great. No problem. I like it.
No, you're doing it.
Don't reinvent the wheel, right? Okay, so let's get started on sharing these best practices. What are these schools doing that could be copied or, used in the same way or different ways at Hamilton Central Schools? Let's see. How about this group go first? Are you ready? Or I can choose someone else if you're not ready. So we're going to share with the rest of the group now.
So some of the things that we thought about.
Can you bring it up there, please? Thank you.
Collaboration and community partnerships, social and emotional growth and development, engaging practices such as guest speakers and performers, and that kind of led us onto a really interesting conversation about collaboration with Colgate and how to just be aware of what's happening up there, extracurricular activities, and the soft skills focus. So we talked about a lot of, kind of like all of the above, but I think that a few important.
Okay. Any comments on what they shared? What did you notice? Something that really struck me reading through all of these schools about extracurricular activities. We all have extracurricular activities, but what was so different about these schools? Dr. A?
If I remember correctly, the kids were heavily involved. They were used.
Yes.
It
Yes.
wasn't just having them. They were.
It was part of the fabric of the school. It wasn't just a few kids were getting to do certain things. They had things like cooking classes and mechanics classes and all kinds, chess club and robotics club. So they had these very extensive opportunities for kids. Okay, who would like to go next? Why doesn't this group choose another group to go? Please, choose another group. All right, group.
Okay, you want to go there? Okay.
Come on.
Yeah. Thanks.
Woohoo!
I don't want to cover up all these wonderful ideas.
Right?
So we broke ours down a little bit. We had some similarities, so we won't repeat those, but other things we thought, especially for elementary school, foreign language acquisition opportunities, not just after school, but also in school. And I think that stems a lot from our conversation around high school diversity, multicultural perspectives, and inclusion, thinking about having, respect for lots of other types of peoples, and kind of really thinking about infiltrating different cultures and how we learn about things. Talked about after school opportunities, technology integration, and making sure that we're consistent about how technology is being integrated, and their teachers are using that in similar ways for similar growth and learning opportunities. Middle school, we started talking a lot about life skills, consumer science type things, electives, allowing students to have choice in what they're pursuing, what they're interested in, finding those things that they're really passionate about, as well as finding opportunities for service learning and leadership. And then high school identity exploration came up a lot, as well as mentorship. Not only opportunities to find mentors and build relationships like that, but also to become a mentor for younger students.
So let's look at social and emotional growth and development for a minute. So we all have counselors, and there's a plan for character education. What was the depth of some of the social and emotional strategies that these schools had? What was the depth of it? It wasn't just, hey, we have a character ed program. It was really embedded, right? So they had a K-12 system where kids were connected to other people. So it was a real systems-based situation. So you really looked into one school. I'm sorry. Can you tell me?
Amber, isn't it?
Amber, you really looked into one school. Can you kind of?
I did. Sure. I looked at the Marion Cross School, and it's a elementary school. But one of the reasons I looked at it, and I tried to kind of narrow the websites down a little bit due to time constraints, but also due to the fact that I just thought it was more manageable and I'd get more out of it.
So
I tried
what stood
to
out there
find.
with the social and emotional growth and development?
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, I thought that this school resembled ours.
Okay.
The demographics of the school, the community.
Perfect.
And I also thought that they, right on the front, it says, we demonstrate and encourage mutual respect among students, parents, faculty, and community members. So that's, the very first thing that you see. But then they go through and have numerous strategies for each, component. And then not only do they have strategies, they list how they're going to meet that strategy and who's responsible for upholding that.
So they're not
doesn't
just
really get much
writing
better.
it,
Yeah.
they're actually monitoring it, and
Yeah.
somebody's making sure that it is
Yeah,
happening.
it's great. It was a great.
So middle school, I just want to talk about middle school for a second before we move on. Is anybody familiar with what happens to the brain in middle schoolers? Those of you who teach middle school know there's something. But I just took 3 courses on it, and there are all these things happening in the bigger part of the brain. So they use this little part of the brain called the amygdala, and the amygdala is our emotion center. So if you notice with middle schoolers, they're making all kinds of noises, they're taking all kinds of risks, jumping off desks and things like that. So when you look at these middle school strategies, it's about really making kids have hands-on, engaging, problem-solving, identity-finding strategies. So middle school is a very unique situation. If you can get at those middle school kids in high school, they're going to really blossom and do what they need to do. Okay, choose a group. These 2 are left. There you go.
Andrew?
You're up, Andrew.
Great.
I wasn't even here.
I'll go with you.
Nice.
All right.
We decided just.
So the one-
They weren't reinventing the wheel.
Well, we'll talk about it.
All right. Well, Dr. A had me write down the social emotional development, but we had Elementary school, the relevant work, technology, information systems. And we also thought civics and culture and government, student government, that was important. Authentic assessment, portfolios, projects, competitions, and work presentations. Then we had social emotional development. In middle school, we liked life skills, we liked resolution and communication and stress management. We liked internships, we liked career exploration and project inquiry learning. And we liked parent education, which I thought was kind of interesting. Parents need to be educated as much as the kids. And in high school, I wasn't sure what multiple pathways meant.
Graduation.
So not everybody has to go down the road of, I'm going to take
Actually,
these
okay.
5 Regents exams. They might go down.
Some of us
different
thought that was important. I was, partnerships with community businesses and community colleges. Soft skill focus. We thought community-based, career-based experience is important in high school. We thought clubs, robotics, physics, debate, all important. Project-based learning, global awareness, civics, and we put special ed as well, future planning, and integrated classes.
So the thing that I just wanted to add a little bit is, I'm saying this as a parent, right? I feel that a lot of what we talk about happens here. And I think an area where we can dive in a little bit deeper is in the social emotional development and being more intentional about developing that with our kids, and maybe a little bit more concrete in terms of the pathway of getting there. And the other thing, this is kind of, I guess now as a professional, I am starting to wonder if soft skills are really soft skills, or are they necessary to be effective for us and for youngsters. So I agree, critical inquiry, problem solving, debate, integrated curriculum. I'm just not sure that they're soft skills. I'm starting to believe more and more that they are significant, major skills and not soft. Unless, yeah, that's my 2 cents. I'll quit while I'm ahead.
But what you're saying is exactly right. There's a coalition out there right now of schools working with businesses and saying, what do you need? And what businesses are saying is, kids need, or adults need to come to work being able to talk to each other and tell each other. I'm working with he's a young man right now, and he got into heroin and he went to prison and he's out now and he is doing phenomenal. But even though he went through all of those things, he is a worker, a hard worker. He has all of those skills because he didn't spend his life on video games. He spent his life out in the world and working. And his boss is so, thankfully somebody gave him a chance, so happy with him, because if somebody does something, he doesn't go and complain or just hide his head. He'll say, hey man, you're making my job harder. Why don't you do this or this? And those are the kind of things that kids need to be able to talk to each other about. This kid has been working for this company for 2 months and his boss is already talking about making a management. So those skills are crucial. Crucial. It's very, very exciting to see. Okay, last group.
Are you on it?
Poor guy. You just do everything.
It's part of his internship.
I'm not going to be sensitive to the cover all.
Go Dan.
Does a lot.
He's agreed.
These were some of these effective ideas that we found. Talked about partnerships with community, business, and university, kind of career-based experiences to get get students the experience and help them figure out what their path is. Social emotional support has already been mentioned, so that's all I'll say about it. And then real world experiences, project-based learning, hands-on learning, and then real world financial, business, organizational understanding kind of a thing. Yeah.
And remember the focus forums, the students were saying that. We need this map, but we also need to know how to balance our checkbooks and look for financial aid and do all those things, which is why I heard the parent university is so important, because parents need to be educated on that so that they can help their students as well. So let's talk about, last time time you got the DTSE rubric, the diagnostic rubric that the state uses to measure schools, talk a little bit about how do those tenets, leadership, curriculum instruction, social and emotional growth and development, and community engagement, how are they impacted by, or how do they dovetail with the strategies that you were just talking about? What is the connection between the rubric and all of these strategies? Is there one?
Does anyone need a copy?
Do you need a copy?
Do you have one, Dan? Do you have one?
Yeah.
We're talking about the center.
Yes, yeah, you're okay. Let's talk about this too. So what is
Okay, so
what is
we're
the
talking
connection between all of these strategies and that rubric? If there is one.
Yeah, I need a copy.
Okay.
And if you're looking at it now, just focus on that impact statement. That will help.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it looks like they just kind of mirror the impacts that they'll create with the
Thanks.
impact
Does
statement.
anyone else need anything?
It specifies like for somebody teachers and students.
They're using evidence presentation. Sounds like you gotta choose.
Yes. So this rubric is what the state uses to measure a school's ideal state. So this is what they say their ideal state is.
Yep.
Is there a connection between those very specific ideas, or maybe those are more general, and these specific strategies? So is there a connection, or is there a correlation, or is there none?
Okay.
So basically you're getting at how do we use both of these pieces of data as best practices
I mean, if you
to
look at
write a strategic plan?
1, 2, 3. Student practice 2.5 really talks about that social emotional. But I think when I look at it, I see, okay, this.
Okay, so I heard some really good questions and I heard some really good ideas. Let's start over here. What did you talk about? What is the connection, if any, between the rubric and the strategies?
It can help to set the stage so that you can achieve those strategies. So it can help with the organizational piece.
Okay, organizing the strategies. Dan, what was your question? It was a very good question. It's sort of a rhetorical question, something to really think about. It's not something we can answer today, but it's something you really need to think about.
Just can any school, and more specifically, can our school do all of them and do them all really well, or do we need to choose some to focus on to do well in order to address the needs that we have? And we had a debate as to whether we need to do all of them or not, or yeah, what the best way to go is.
And does working on one affect the others? Because if you notice, well, I'll actually let you guys talk before I say it. So how about this group? What did you talk about?
What stands out to me is that all of these specify that we need to have a clearly defined system and plan in place and responsible actors who ensure that those are implemented correctly and that people are held responsible for implementing things in the correct way.
Right, that is a system. Yep. Good.
We talked about intentionality, just building a system that's going to allow kids to move through and learn those important things, achieve those milestones in an intentional way through intentional opportunities.
Excellent. I think it goes back to what Dr. A said earlier. We are going someplace. It's a matter of whether we plan it or we just go. Okay, Mr. Andrew, what'd you say?
We talked about that the big tenets is the big overarching umbrella, and these are how you get there. The small little milestones to get you to the big overarching left side.
And I think one of you put it as this is the frameworks for these strategies. If you look at some of these strategies, they fit into more than one of those places. So if you're talking about project-based learning, you're talking about curriculum, you're talking about instruction, you're talking about leadership, you're definitely talking about social emotional growth and development. So these are the pillars, and then these are the unpacking of those pillars. And somebody said it's a place to keep us organized and a system. running, so it's important to think about all of those things.
One question about these strategies and the framework. You know, I noticed like on these sheets it went from elementary, middle school, high school. So is the district supposed to kind of figure out, like you wouldn't start out in elementary school and then do something in high school that's completely, like, don't you want to work?
Coherent. Is that what you're getting at? That coherent?
Yeah, so it's not like, you know, you're doing life skills.
No. It should be. So if you're talking about life skills, it sort of probably goes into your K-12 counseling plan. Or, you know, if you're talking about, you know, project-based learning, it might go into your K-12 professional development plan, something like that. So it's definitely a system, and that's what your strategic intent should be. Even though you're seeing different things in different schools, so it's so common that we work in isolation in the schools, even the small schools. We're doing this, but then who cares? You know, not really who cares, but we're so busy doing this that we forget that it's going someplace else. So people have to work together in a K-12 system. Hopefully soon it'll be more than K-12 because the colleges need to get in as well, and it needs to be coherent that way, colleges and technical schools as well. Okay, any more questions or comments about that, best practices? So, just to switch gears a little bit, that was best practices data. All of this data you will be getting to use again when you start setting the strategic intents. Right now we are just digging into the data overall. So let's talk a little bit about, we talked about the student survey data the last meeting. What did you notice in the commentary? You took the commentary home? It was both. It was all the schools. What did you notice? Wonder? What surprised you? Are there any ideas you want to talk about from the student commentaries? So take a few seconds to talk about it in your group, then we will share out. And come together. Thank you. So what struck you from the student commentary? I was laughing because some of the things that students think about that are so important to them. It's like that Maslow's hierarchy.
The human factor.
Yes, say more. He said the human factor. Friendship.
Friendships. People are nice. People care. I mean, you saw that over and over.
Yeah.
Saying they have each other's back.
Right. And that's what creates character, those connections, those role models. Yeah. What else did you notice? Wonder. What struck you in the commentary?
In the elementary school, a number of the kids talk about how safe they feel. And that's in the business.
Right. Safety is so important.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even in the focus forums, it was so interesting to hear the kids just say, I just feel safe here. And so I'm ready to go out in the world because I've grown in a safe environment. Okay. Anything else anyone wants to add?
Just a lot of comments I just noticed like about feelings, caring, parent-teachers, feelings, no bullying, and we take care of that very well, which is all great. Go for that. But there was hardly any, like at least at the high school level, like no like anything particular about their academics or like specific. I learned calculus and I thought that was great. So like whatever. It was all feelings.
So that's a good point. So is it developmental or is it's okay, but it's nothing to talk about? You know, which one is it? Is it just a developmental thing and we want to talk about feelings, or is it, you know, if I were doing, I don't know, if I had a service learning project going on outside of here and I'm learning about other countries, would that end up in that commentary? I'm not sure, I'm just asking.
Well, is the reason that comes up is because that's what the culture kind of finds important?
Good
or,
question.
You know?
Yeah, good question. All good food for thought. Are you ready to keep going? We have a lot to do, so I don't really want to take a break, so just take a break when you need to. Okay? Okay. So family engagement survey, ready to dig into the family engagement survey. So when you get the family engagement survey, same as we've done with the student voice and the school performance scans. What are the strengths? What are the concerns? And what are the surprises?
So is this going to be...
And
These are numbered, and we'll get them back.
Yes, we need these back when you're finished. You will get them again when you start working on its strategic intent. You'll get all the data to use, but for now we need to collect it and not have it out there.
Thank you.
Can we start with this group over here, and could you present your findings for us, and then we will just go right on the next slide.
So our strengths we thought were safety, which seems across the board everybody thinks this is a really safe place, which is great to know. And we thought that the curriculum, the family thought that curriculum was strength. Our concerns, communication seems to be lacking to our families pretty much everywhere. And then we thought also training for parents to understand student performance. And this is, I think, especially true for elementary, where you get a parent-teacher conference that's very short at the beginning of the year, and then no communication, and then a report card which has, it's numeric, and it really doesn't have any place to show progress or very few comments opportunities about your students. So I think that this was more elementary based because it sounds like there are tools in place in middle and high school that allow for that, but it didn't break it down for elementary, middle, and high school, so we didn't really know. So surprises, just the student behavior interfering like everywhere, but then we were talking about it might just be the question is correlated. So
Because it's not, so it's an outlier because it's not corroborated by the focus forums or
it
the
doesn't,
survey
it's
or-
not backed up by any of the, yeah.
Okay.
I think we have almost the same stuff. So, safety, we thought there was a lot of positivity about our leaders. Concerns were the community engagement and communication with parents. We thought this was particularly sad because this is coming from the people who are willing to take a survey.
Yeah.
Same thing about behavior coming up. And also, it seemed like in this and in middle school, high school, dealing with bullying seems high. Not that there is bullying, but when there is, there doesn't seem to be any plan for how to deal with it or any plan to deal with it.
Thank you. Next group. Or, oh, we'll go over there. They're still waiting here. My fault.
Okay. You're up this time.
Look at that, they conformed this time.
Yeah. So our
Impressive.
column.
And then we were prolific.
Yeah.
Whereas
We
the
wrote a
rest
lot.
of you were short.
Our strengths this time, we thought were leaders were available and approachable, thought of as through the parents. We kind of thought this was funny. We put technology in the classroom under surprise and strength because parents were looking at it, they had it under as a strength. And then we were thinking of it, it's kind of funny because everywhere else it was a concern. So like, why are parents thinking it's great and all the other demographics weren't? Safety like everyone else, extracurriculars. We really like the children all felt they had a go-to. It wasn't specifically a teacher, but like someone, like some adult they could go to for concerns and problems. So we thought that was awesome. And then our concerns were the I can statements. Student behavior does not affect or interfere with instruction, so that is a concern when other students, parents are hearing from their students, obviously, that they're having a problem because of other students' behavior. That's a concern. The bullying, like that we said before, and the child, saying that things aren't explained in multiple ways. And then our surprises, like I said, was tech. And then this was kind of funny for us. We talked about this a while for our table, letting students fall through the crack, and that question was kind of hard for us. So because we said like, what does that mean? Like every parent could interpret that differently. Is that like a C student that's just kind of like skidding by and we're letting them fall because we're not pushing them enough? Is that the ones who aren't graduating? Like what were parents thinking about that? And then school rules were clear. So this was kind of funny because, or vague, because parents thought the school rules were very well written and there. But then on our other previous data we looked at, students said they didn't even know what the school rules were, and so we just thought that was interesting.
Okay, thank you. So we have just spent, and I heard somebody say, I feel like we haven't really done it. Oh, sorry, one more group. So sorry, thank you so much for advocating.
Strengths, the reading and writing components we thought were prevalent, and also supported learning environment, and also just seemed to be a safe house for everyone. And also we had some concerns not connected to school. I don't know, I can't remember what. Yeah. So, and then teacher contacts, not just when they're doing well, but when they're doing poorly. There seems to be some concerns, teacher contacts. So,
Thank you. So we've just spent a month, or I'm sorry, 4 months, really digging into data. And I heard somebody say, I feel like we really haven't done anything. But you really have. You have been preparing yourselves to really know the state of the school and what the best practices are so that you know where you want to go. So what's going to happen, because you have really dug so deeply, is when it comes time to choosing task forces and strategic intents, I think you're going to find it a much easier job, because by now you should have an idea of, we really have some concerns in this area, this is where we really want to be, this is what we really need to focus on for our strategic plan. Are you feeling that way? Okay, you'll see when you start task forces. Yes, so what will happen, actually I'm going to tell you, I'm going to tell you all that's going to happen from here on out. So, task forces. Let's talk about what task forces are. So if you would open up your workbook to page 14 and 15. Page 14 and 15 it should be. Excellent. So what I'm going to do is, instead of everybody reading everything, I'm going to assign groups and we'll jigsaw. Okay? So we are going to call you group 1. You are going to read numbers 1 and 2. Group 2, over here, you're going to read numbers. Sorry. 3 and 4. Group 3, 5 and 6. And group 4. Oh, we had 5 groups before, didn't we? Okay, 7 through 9, group 4. Should we have everybody read 10 through 12, or do you want me to split it up a little bit or something? Group 5. Everybody read 10 through 12.
We're 7 through 12.
Yeah, pretty much.
Short, medium, and
So basically, we just wanted you to get an idea of what do these task forces do, so that you can then choose the task forces and start setting critical issues and strategic intents for those task forces to work with. So let's start, was this group 1 here? Okay, start with group 1. What are the first 2 tasks of the task force, in a nutshell?
So this is the foundation stage. So this is laying the groundwork for all the task force members so they understand how this is going to all work out, what the timeline is, establishing how the task force is going to work collaboratively together to figure out how we're going to put the strategic intents into an action plan. So it's really setting the stage for all of that. And then after they understand the timeline and the calendar and kind of the process, then they're going to take us into step 2, analyzing the charge that they've been given, so it's kind of their mission as the task force, and looking at the critical issues that we've defined.
Yes.
Great. And then really being able to work through that and figure out how to do their objectives within the timeframes that have been established.
Okay, group 2.
That's good.
Very good.
3 and 4, I would do 3.
Okay.
So 3 sort of sets the stage for the data collection and work, researching best practices. There's an idea in here to kind of go out and search for schools that are doing something specific, really great in your your area of investigation, and looking around, casting about for experts in your area who come from outside the district to come and either apply for work and start working in smaller groups.
The fourth one is using that data and developing strengths and weaknesses inside the organization versus opportunities and threats from outside the district. And basically how they're going to affect each other.
Okay. Group 3?
So then we circle back to the critical issues and see how reflect on that based on the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And then check to make sure that everything lines up with the research and the data and the best practices that we can look at. And then meet together again if necessary to kind of correlate all those things. And then 6 is to simply list data, research, and best practices with key learnings for each.
Thank you. Last group?
Well, we found we had to look at the definitions of some of these in the back in order to really understand them, which we did. So it sounds like we are creating the strategic intents, which is like a 5-year type goal, much longer term. And then these task forces are going to help try to develop strategies to meet the strategic intent. And then there's going to be action plans, which are, I guess, more like, what did we, that was detailed, and what was the longevity? Okay, so 1 year was the action plan. So it's kind of like a time frame. It broke it down into time frame, pretty much.
Absolutely. Okay, and then everyone read 10 through 12. So now you have somewhat of an idea of what task forces do. So now with all of the data that you collected, all of the strengths, all of the opportunities for growth, all of the best practices, now we need to decide, well, what will those task forces be? Okay, so just want to give you some samples of some things that have come up in the past. So student engagement. I'll let you read those, I won't read those to you. So these are sort of buckets of possible task forces.
So each of those was a task force?
So student engagement was the task force, and these are the things that fell under that task force.
Got it, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and this is not just from one. This is just.
I was going to say, this is the big umbrella.
You might be struck by a couple of those. So this is an overall bucket where you will choose, does student engagement fit for us? Is that one of our task forces?
So I have a question. So
Sure.
you kind of show us what the task forces can be rather than our strengths, concerns.
Nope, I'm just showing you some. So if you look up there, do you see yourself in any of those? Do you see any of your?
Okay, got it.
Do you see your? So
I see
this
what
is
you're
a
saying.
culmination of a lot of different task forces. Pardon me?
Examples.
These are just examples, just to give
So
you
one
some
of ours-
ideas on what it
Communication.
could look like.
Yeah.
And you see yourself in some of those. And it might not be called student engagement, it may be called something else. You will pick them, I'm just giving you some ideas. Okay, so I really wanted to play this video, but we don't have time. This is a STEM classroom. It's so incredible. They have this, I don't know what kind, it's like a slide that you sit on and it creates this centrifugal force, and they do all the math and all this stuff. It's so interesting. And you have this right in your own building. If you ever get a chance to go and see, is it Johanna? Johanna's classroom. It's amazing what happens in that classroom. Some of the STEM that's going on, the greenhouse and the bikes and all of that stuff. So not enough time, but I will have Dan send these videos to you. So another task force that we've seen is family and community engagement. And these are some of the ideas that fell in there.
Yeah.
And another very interesting video on service learning. I will send that to Dan as well so we can send it to you. And then another idea for a task force. some ideas of task forces. We can do this in one of two ways. We've done it both ways. First, we set the task forces based on all of the data that we've collected, and then we split into separate groups, which we will do, and each group focuses on that task force and finds the critical issues and sets the strategic intents for that task force. Or we look at all the critical issues first and then separate those critical issues and find our task forces. So it works both ways. I think it'll be more specific and targeted if we choose the task forces, if you feel like you have enough information to set those task forces. Or do you need to have the critical issues first? So what will happen in both situations? You'll get all the data. You'll get all the surveys, you have the focus forms, you'll get all that data. So you're going to look at it in one of two ways. You'll look at it as a focus on a task force and look at those areas and find your critical issues and set your strategic intents. Or you'll look at the data as a whole, find all critical issues, and then take those critical issues and put them in categories for task forces. So which way do you think might work best for you? Talk about it for a minute at your tables. So these three tables are sort of in agreement. Which row did you think about?
Whatever they want to do.
Being an outlier, come on.
Right. So what I'm hearing from all three tables is, let's find out what all the critical issues are, and then let's categorize those and choose our task forces. Okay. So that will be our next task and our next stage. Which brings us into, we have to...
issues that fall to the
My brain works this way.
your path.
Task forces, that's how we same thing, just in a different order.
You can try to categorize them.
Do we start recruiting for the task forces?
These four
That will happen.
one head.
That will happen.
These under this.
Whoa, yeah, that's interesting. That's an interesting statement.
Because you're going to be in
Because in order to recruit people, we need to know the categories of people. So we need to, can I go down the road I'm going to go on, and we'll get right back to that, because I think it's going to lead to it.
Logistically about
I agree with you 100%.
human power.
Yes. So let me tell you where we have to go from here. Then we have to set a next meeting. What we've talked about and what we're hoping for, and you guys have been so generous with your time, and I hope you don't scream at my next idea. But I think 2.5 hours to do the test, to look at all of that data and the critical and creating the critical issues, and then choosing task forces. I don't think 2.5 hours is enough time. So we were curious to know if you would be interested in working maybe 6 hours on a Saturday or 4 hours on a Saturday sometime. Or starting at 3:30.
Done.
Starting at 3:30 or 4 o'clock. Or we can just do it into 2 sessions.
Yeah.
We can do it in 2 sessions. Talk amongst yourselves.
Or we could just be like committed, right?
Is it gonna be?
So Dan, I was hoping that what is the?
Is there a wine?
It used to be the June board meeting, but that's been moved. But we're not sure to when. Do you know what board meeting?
I don't know what board, because I'm not sure. I know that we have 4 added times, but I'm not sure if there's going to be a hiatus during part of the summer, given...
The way
I
I
don't know.
see it right
I
now
don't
is that we need to be ready by the July board meeting. That's what I'm seeing right now, but we'll talk to Dr. A and see what he thinks.
No, I think
So we need to get 4 more sessions
writing
in the
down
next
all of our
couple
concerns,
months.
like after every meeting, after all, like what everybody writes up there
I know.
in the emails.
I know.
Task forces are
Okay,
going
so
to meet
why
and do all
don't we
this
just
work
put
before
like,
July?
all of our concerns together?
Yes, because you
those
will
are
get
things
this
that
work,
we've
the
identified
work
as
that the
the
task
critical
force needs,
issues,
you'll get done
right?
in the next session.
And then
Oh,
go,
yeah. How long
I mean,
does
how
the
long
task
can
force
it
take?
take?
Couple
If we
months.
have them
They
all
do it in a couple months.
in front of us, like how long
Yeah,
will
but
it take?
now
Or just put them
Is
like next hours, right? I mean, it shouldn't take that
Let's
much.
ask Dr. A, I'm not 100% sure.
Tammy, I'm just curious, like how did we get
When
on
you send the
track?
agendas,
How did
You
we
did not get off track. Many districts have added time. Most districts take an entire year to do this.
Yes.
You guys
Yeah, Mark.
decided in the beginning, let's see if we could do this in less at a time. But really, when I was on the inside at Hannibal, we took an entire year to do it, because especially the task forces, it's a lot of work.
Are you talking July for a completed plan?
That's my understanding. I don't know for sure. So don't quote me. Forget I said it. Forget I said it. Let's ask Dr. A
But
when
Tammy,
he
I do
comes
have
in.
a question.
Let's ask Dr. A when he comes in.
I do have a question. So
Sure.
You had mentioned maybe either a longer meeting or splitting it into two. Is it, and I'm not trying to attack in this, but is it possible to do it? That, like, if we really came in ready to roll, is it possible to do it in one session that we have?
If we choose the next session and we just come in and our total focus is on critical issues, strategic intents, task forces, or task forces, strategic intents, I think we might be able to do it.
Especially since she's been documenting all of our concerns.
Exactly.
So why can't we just put those on the
Well,
table
that's what I was
and
thinking,
then
like,
we
if
have
somebody could just, correlate all the concerns into a chart, wouldn't that be?
Yes, that would be very helpful.
I can just take all of the concern charts that she's already made.
Yes.
Roll them into one PDF and then send that
There you
out.
go.
And then we have them all, right?
And then our homework is to really look at them
I like
and think
that.
about what the
Love that idea.
task
So,
force will be.
what is on the table right now is,
Great.
Dan's going to compile all of the concerns that have been stated so far, send it out in a PDF. Homework is to look that over and
You don't
come
have a life.
prepared to sort of categorize those into task forces at the next session. And if we work at the next session, we can really sort those out and start working in groups and setting strategic intent. And I think we can get it done in one session. We can at least identify the task forces so that they can start bringing them together. But timeline, don't quote me, I'm not sure.
Are we meeting next?
We have to decide that because there hasn't been an idea. So let me grab my calendar.
Originally, the June meeting was going to be the Board of Education
Correct.
presentation, but we're clearly not going to do that in June.
Correct.
So,
Take this bag, thank you. Correct. So,
school calendar.
do you have a school calendar? I think we really need to have another meeting this month in order to get this ready. So, can everyone to start? Because I'd like Donna to be here too, and the only day she had open was May 22nd. So let's start there, and we'll go from there.
Monday.
It's a Monday, May 22nd.
At this point, I'm good.
Okay. Are there any concerns about Monday, May 22nd?
Maybe 6 to 8:30?
6 to 8:30. Monday, May 22nd. Any concerns about that date?
The day after Colgate's graduation.
I may have an issue, but I don't know for sure.
Okay.
What is it?
Dan, do you have a
It's the
school
Monday
calendar? Do you think
after
that works?
Colgate's graduation.
I don't have the school calendar up, and I was trying to.
Kind of.
It is gonna be a pain, but.
Can you get the school calendar? Is it on the website?
Oh, here's one right here.
Bulletin board by the computer.
Yep, there's one right here.
Oh, wait.
So I don't really
You might have it on the website.
I'm just going to the
Actually,
website.
on Sunday, Ruth roped me into doing like
Not
the
very up to date.
reservation committee for
You
the
can't get on
town
there for some
here,
reason.
but she said that it's just like one meeting a year. So I was like,
Nothing
Not a
there?
holiday or anything, there's nothing written in there.
I'm just leaving there.
Okay, Monday, May 22nd, 6 o'clock. Dan will send out all of the concerns in a PDF. Your homework is to look at those and start thinking about how can those be categorized into task forces.
Are we gonna plan 1 month ahead every time, or are we gonna plan several out? I'm just wondering.
It would be really helpful just to have all the.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
6 to
Yeah.
7.
Okay, so what we need to do is, at our next meeting, identify critical issues for each task force, so we will do that. And set strategic intents. We need to do that at the next meeting so that we can get the task forces starting to work. Then we need to complete our mission, vision, beliefs, and parameters. And then you will also have task force orientation, but you won't be there for that, so it'll be on that same night, so we'll figure that out. Then you'll be here for a task force check-in. So you will come and the task forces will report out to you, the facilitators will report out to you. And then the presentation and approval of the plan from the task forces, and then a Board of Ed presentation, which you don't need to be there.
Do you guys
for.
meet with the task forces?
Yes.
So you're doing this with each of them?
Not all of this. We will just guide them through their process.
Okay.
So we will meet with them in person twice, and then we will do phone conferencing as well. So
Got
we'll
it.
meet with the whole task force to orient them, the facilitators to do a midpoint check-in, and then in between that, whatever they need, as far as phone conferencing and things like that. So does Dr. A have to leave do you think he'll be back?
I
Because I just want to know what our timeline is. Okay. Okay, so May 22nd is the first one.
You got a cell number? I do. Yep, I was just gonna call his office.
What about June 5th?
Okay, well, it's Eric's reunion, so we're so that would probably be
For others.
Yeah.
The only thing on the calendar is the science test. I don't think that'll affect any of you, right? How's June 5th for everyone?
June 5th?
June 5th?
Oh, I've got the count
So
here.
we're talking 6 to 8:30 again?
Say that again?
6 to 8:30.
Yes,
Is that
6 to
what
8:30. Yep, 6 to 8:30.
June. That didn't come up on my phone.
Yeah,
And then we need to give, let's see.
well, the same.
So that's 2, correct?
Yeah.
How about June, either 19th or 26th? Let me just look at this. I should bring this with me.
I think the 19th is better because the 26th is the first week off of school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't get it.
So June 19th is Regents exams, elementary field trip. And June 26th is
School's out.
Dog.
school's out.
Don't do that one.
Okay. Don't trust that calendar very much? Okay.
19th?
19th? Okay. Okay, let's do the 19th.
And all of these 6 to 8:30.
6 to 8:30.
June 5th, June 19th.
Yep. All 6 to 8:30.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and run these by Dr. A, I guess, and CC you on the email.
Okay, so June 5th, June 19th. Did I say the 6th or the 5th?
5th.
Okay, 5th. May 22nd. And then we need one last meeting. That's July 4th. We don't want to do that. Do you want to do another in June, or do you want to go to July? Don't go to July? So let's do one in that last week of June, whatever day works for all of you.